The price of oil barrels out of control, sparking protests worldwide. Can the politicians control the climbing crude? Or will we finally end our love affair with black gold? Next on Global Pulse. Today on Global Pulse, we look at how these broadcasters worldwide are covering the global oil crisis. News about spiraling oil prices is everywhere.
Almost half the world's energy comes from oil.
Spiraling oil prices are hitting European businesses hard.
Today, oil set another record high.
Crude oil has gone up from $66 a barrel to almost $119.
And it could get worse.
Worldwide, people are angry. Protests first started in developing nations, as Germany's Deutsche Welle and China's CCTV report.
Thousands of people in Nepal have burned tyres and brought traffic to a halt on the roads of Kathmandu. Demonstrators were protesting against steep rises in the price of cooking gas and diesel fuel.
Street demonstrators in western Cameroon have swept through the country, mainly in protest against high fuel and food prices. The violence has left at least 8 people dead so far.
Now the protest has gone global, even hitting the U.S., as Univision, France's TV5, Al Jazeera English, the BBC, and Fox News show.
About 400 big rigs and semi-trucks descended on the U.S. Capitol today. Drivers were protesting record-high diesel fuel prices, which now average $4.24 a gallon.
Transportation workers demonstrated in Managua, Nicaragua, rioted against police. The protesters demand a freeze for fuel costs with hopes to cut the price in half. The strike began 8 days ago.
In France, fishermen continued protesting Thursday, the majority of them having decided to continue their strike in response to the cost of fuel.
The blockading of several dozens of ports continues. In the mouth of the Rhone, Marseille fishermen have been displaced by armed forces. But along most of the coastline, the protest continues. The boats are not ready to return to the seas.
Indonesia's vice president said he cannot rule out more gas hikes. Authorities are bracing for more protests. There have already been several demonstrations since the government confirmed its plans for the rise last week. The move will include cuts in government oil subsidies in the light of record world oil costs.
British truck drivers head off to protest against rising fuel prices. A key arterial road into London from the west, lined with trucks.
The cost of fuel has exploded over recent months. It now costs over £1,000 a week to fill up a lorry.
The explanation for spiraling prices? Experts blame high demand, short supply, market speculation, hoarding, and even the weak dollar. Politicians face pressure to do something.
Gordon Brown today joined the list of Western leaders who feel compelled to look like they're tackling the rising cost of fuel. He raised the prospect of building more nuclear reactors in the UK and had a high-profile chinwag with senior oil industry execs.
On Capitol Hill, senators demanded answers from oil executives, but wound up frustrated.
Does it trouble any of you when you see what you're doing to us? The cost that you're imposing on working families, small businesses, truckers, farmers?
We do not like this situation any better.
How do you explain your profits?
So the way I explain, I explain my profits by saying we reinvest it all. So I mean, what we're doing.
Oh, really?
But public opinion appears to be having an effect in France. Here's President Sarkozy advocating a suspension of VAT on fuel.
Shouldn't we suspend the value-added tax on the oil price?
President Sarkozy isn't alone in proposing tax cuts. On the U.S. presidential campaign trail, the candidates propose similar solutions, as ABC News explains.
Clinton and McCain want to drop the 18.5-cent federal gas tax all summer long.
It's a nice little break for Americans.
Obama alone opposes the idea.
30 cents a day. That's their big solution.
Cutting the gas tax actually goes against the long-term energy goals all three candidates have embraced: cutting pollution and reducing our dependence on foreign oil.
In the long term, the only solution may be doing less of this and more of this. For Global Pulse, I'm Erin Coker.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only.
Link TV is the only US network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.